Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time on your Thursday morning, afternoon, whatever time it is for you, for joining us for our Ninja One Year in Review 2023 webinar. There's going to be a lot of customers here. A lot of you are familiar with Ninja One. You've been using it for a while. Hopefully, you're happy. And we're going to be going over some highlights of the big features and releases that came out this year. If you have not seen Ninja and this is your first time, you're going to get a look at some of those big updates. And then we're really excited to share some highlights, some sneak peeks of what's coming for next year. I'm Jonathan Crow. I'm Director of Community at Ninja One, and I have with me some wonderful colleagues. Let's start with you, Pete. If you could do a little introduction, then we'll go around the horn. And everybody in
Awesome.
the chat, sorry to interrupt you, Pete. Sorry. Everyone in the chat, feel free to drop in and say where you're calling in from, because we've got a worldwide community here at Ninjas, and we love to see where people are joining us from. So, Pete, over to you.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks, Jonathan. My name is Pete Breton. I'm the Senior Director of Customer and Product Marketing here. Super excited to talk about what we've done this year and get out that sneak peek before someone tells me I'm not allowed to share it. So I think we can go over to you, Chris.
Yeah, Chris Williams, happy to be here. I'm the senior product manager in charge of patch management here at Ninja. So that's Windows, Mac, Linux, that's third-party software. So yeah, happy to talk through some stuff that we released for patching, and also a little bit of a sneak peek into a couple big features that we think you'll love coming very soon. So hand it over to
Before
you.
we go to Nick,
Yeah.
it looks like chat may be disabled. Andrew, I don't know if you can go ahead and see if we can fix it.
Oh, Chris Thomas, of course, of all people, he finds a way around it. He hacks his way in. Yeah, no, thanks everybody. We do want to hear from you. I was just feeling like, man, people are really kind of grumpy on this Thursday. They don't want to talk to us. There we go. Oh, that's good to see. Thank you, Andrew. All right, Nick, over to you.
All right. How you doing, everyone? I'm Nick Stefano. I'm the product marketing manager for backup and ticketing. And excited to be here and talk to you guys about all the fun things we did in backup this year.
Awesome. Well, everyone, thanks again for joining. Before we get into that recap and then sneak peeks, wanted to do a couple of things. So wanted to give you some updates around where things stand for Ninja One as a company. And we've got some really great milestones that we passed, and it's all thanks to you guys. We've gotten over 5 million devices under management that Ninja One is monitoring and reporting on. That's a huge number. Thank you so much. We're over 13,000 customers worldwide. Incredible to see that growth. I'm also personally, as director of community, really excited about the launch and growth of our Discord. For you, there's a lot of folks I've seen familiar names here that I know are already part of the Discord. But for those who aren't, check it out. There's a huge community. I think we're up to 3,500 members now, which is crazy. We started the year, I think, with below 1,000. There's tons of great conversations happening there where people are sharing scripts, people are doing script reviews, people are having questions and answers delivered. You get firsthand direct access to some of the PMs like Chris here, who are really can't say enough about them taking the time to monitor Discord and jump in and engage with folks. It's really, really been rewarding and cool to see that community grow. So we're going to give you a couple of shout outs. And if you go to resources, actually, you should see links to go there and join and check it out if you haven't already. A couple other things too. We're going to go at the end of the call here. We're going to announce our winner, our prize winner, which I think as a reminder, we're giving away a Steam Deck, which I'm super jealous about. So one lucky person will have that. We'll announce that winner. We also are going to give a shout out to a couple of events that are upcoming. And I want to tease one of those right now. So December, we know it's a busy month. You're taking time out of your day at the end of the year here to join us. Thanks for that. There's also a couple other events I want to give a shout out to. The first one is called Rejection Con. And this is put on by our friends at Empath, Wes Spencer, Alex Farlane, Kyle Christensen. They had this great idea that, look, there's a lot of conferences that happen throughout the year, and each of those conferences invite speakers. It's usually a pretty competitive space. There's limited slots. There's a lot of great talks that don't get accepted. That doesn't mean they're not good. And so this is a conference that they're hosting next week, December 12th through 14th, where they're actually giving some of those rejected talks a chance to shine. We've got some customers, including Bobby Guerrera at at Axiom, and he's talking about CMMC. There's also a ton of really great, interesting talks there, so I highly recommend checking it out. The other cool thing is all proceeds of that, which is, first of all, registration is pay what you can, so it can be free or it can be as little as you have. But any dollars that you do fund to it go to the Rural Tech Fund, which is a really cool charity. So I wanted to call that out. And also call out that we've got one other event ourselves. And that's IT Festivus, which is coming up on the 21st. You're going to be seeing on social and in various places embarrassing videos of me in my awesome Festivus sweater, encouraging you to go there. We're doing some more prizes and giveaways involved with that, where you get a chance to brag about yourself, to really feel, share your proudest IT admin feat of strength. We're going to be giving away a PS5, Spider-Man 2 bundle, a Thor hammer toolbox, some Bose headphones, all sorts of stuff. So anyway, I dropped the link there. Absolutely, Michael. It's the Festivus for the admins of us. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. It's our third time doing that. Always a good opportunity to gather around, share some wins from the year, also do some complaining, and have some fun. So with that, it's a busy time of year. Just wanted to get all that stuff out there.
You mind if I hop in really quick? We actually have one other event this year that Nick is actually running, Nick and Dan, around backup next week. For those of you who spend a lot of time thinking about backup, we do have another webinar next week that Nick will be running. Nick, do you have the title of that by any chance?
Yes, it is RPO and RTO objectives, so managing disasters.
Awesome. Yeah, so if backup is on top of mind for you, check that out. It'll be next week. I think, is it Wednesday? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
Wednesday.
Sorry to interrupt, Jonathan.
No, that's great. Thanks for calling that out. So as we were pointing out, really busy time. Andrew, I love this. We may have to quote you on this. Maybe this can go up on the website, Nick. Your backup solution is thebomb.com. Unbelievably reliable and easy to set up. That's awesome. Good to hear. Okay. So before we dive in, Pete is going to go through a look back on the great updates from NinjaOne. Before we do that, Andrew, would you mind launching our first poll? In this poll, I believe, should have two questions. How do we get the Discord invite? Steve, if you check the resources down there at the bottom, there should be a link to the invite. I'll drop it here in the chat. Okay, cool. So here's the poll. And you folks are already jumping in. That's fantastic. Okay. So I'm just curious, what were you most happy to see in 2023? We're going to be talking, if you don't know what some of these things are, well, you're in luck. We're going to talk about some of these. And then once we get through that, short answer question for you. What do you want to see most in 2024? Our product managers like Chris love this, that I'm adding this question. They already have a firmly established backlog, but you know what? They also, this is what we're all about at Ninja. We're all about getting your requests, getting your feedback, and actually acting on that. It's something that we really believe in a lot. It's why Chris and the other PMs take the time to go into Discord and have product board and really looking for early feedback and feature requests. And it's something that I think, for me, seeing the follow through on that for this year and seeing some features that have been requested for a while actually appear has been really cool to see. Okay, well, thank you so much for answering those polls. We'll revisit them here in a little bit, but Pete, I think I'll turn it over to you for our big look back.
Awesome. I'm going to skip all the intro slides that we didn't actually go through because it doesn't look like we needed them, and jump right in.
My fault.
I tried to make this as fun as possible here on the the look back. This has nothing to do with the theme of this event, but I wanted to spend some time figuring out how to do a Star Wars theme here. So let's jump in. I think when I look back at we tier all of our features and releases. Don't worry, there'll be a more readable version in a second. When we roll out any new feature or functionality, we tier it, right? This list here of about 50 features is just our sort of level 1 and level 2 features. What that means is those are ones that people are actively asking for. We know it'll make an impact on your business and the way you do work. We expect to try to make some noise about it, make sure that you guys are aware. If you add in the ones kind of one step down, what we call level 3, and then bug fixes, we're talking over 350, 400 items that we updated this year. These are the big ones, right? I'm sure there are others that maybe you noticed or haven't noticed that aren't here. We are going to go through in a bit more depth the backup and patch management ones here. Chris and Nick will take care of those. I've got a couple on the RMM side that I'll jump into, including our reporting upgrade and device search grid, our new dynamic script forms capability, and our software repository. But there are a bunch of others in here as well. We don't have any time set aside for ticketing, but we've made a bunch of quality of life improvements, usability improvements, and just getting it to a point where our partners who are using ticketing can really use it at scale. On the platform side, adding end user roles and end user SSO has been really helpful in driving adoption of our end user self-service portal, as well as, we released our role-based access control capabilities last year, and we've added quite a few additional like access breakout granularity, if you will. Device group sharing, which is something that really helps ramp up new technicians, being able to edit orgs in bulk. We've added a ton to documentation, and we're getting to the point where we're really feeling like we can, make a bigger splash with that in the near future. There's a lot more in here, like knowledge base and public links, the ability to push those knowledge bases publicly, being able to just improve it from a usability and usefulness perspective by having it in market, having customers using it, and getting a lot of feedback to get it up to that, tier 1 documentation product. We have made dramatic improvements to our API. I think if you'd talked to us at the end of last year about our API, we probably would have gotten a little quiet and a little bashful, but we have a PM who's super, super passionate about APIs, who's done a ton of work there and making it more effective. So, and that's outside of all the endpoint management stuff, RMM and endpoint management stuff. So there have been a ton of improvements this year that we're super excited about. As I said, we'll focus on backup, patch management, and then the 3 I have in my list are the software package repository, dynamic script forms, and our new reporting capability. If there are others that you see in this list that we want to try to dynamically add here, let us know. Drop it in chat, and we can see if we can do that. But with that, I think I'll actually jump into demos of those 3 that I'm really excited for. Jonathan, anything on that's come up in chat or Q&A that I need to answer or pivot on?
Yes, well, there's some questions about Discord and some of the invite links that I was spitting out there. And if you go to resources, you should see those. Linux came up a couple of times. And so I mentioned, that's going to be covered in part of Chris's section where there was some additional patching abilities there. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to that part, Pete.
I think all the things I'm seeing in the can you talk about these things that we need, I think we can talk about almost all of them in our roadmap. So I think I'll leave those out for now. But hopefully, I think I'll be able to answer or provide, pretty positive direction on most, if not all of these in our roadmap section. Excuse me. Struggling to speak today. All right. So I'm going to close out my PowerPoint here and jump right into the platform. Is everyone seeing the platform here? Yes. Okay. And I am going to bring up my notes because I am terrible without notes. All right. So I'm going to start with our software package repository. This is probably I think other than MDM, probably our single biggest single feature request we've ever had. And we rolled this out in our 5.5 release, I think. So either last release or the release before. What we've heard is overwhelmingly positive feedback. So I'm going to jump in and show what that looks like. If we go to administration here, and then we go to library and into automations, we now have a new category, or a new type here, called install application. And you can see this is our software package repository. So these are custom installations that we have built out in our environment, for when we're doing demos and that sort of thing. So this is what that package repository looks like. Now, if you've been a Ninja customer for a while, you know that unless you created your own custom script, this wasn't available. It was, at minimum, a point of friction to constantly be uploading MSIs or EXEs to go and build out software installations in a policy or in an ad hoc task, whatever it may be. We've now made it really easy to upload those installers and keep them in this repository for the long term. So I'm going to jump into one of these and show you what it looks like. So if I jump into install Slack here, we can create a name, description, lots of like administrative stuff we can do, but we come over here and we upload the installer. You can also drop a link in if it's publicly available. We can set categories, we can set parameters like silent, and we also have the ability to upload helper files and installer scripts. And then we can also run a script before and after. So there's a lot more complexity that you can add to your software deployment capabilities than you really could before without doing all of that via, PowerShell or whatever in the past. I'm actually going to create one here for you on the fly. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, it's because I'm not very smart. So let's go ahead and do an app automation installation here. I'm actually going to do Cisco roaming client, simply because I actually had that installer available to me. Let me move this over so you can't see everything on my desktop here. And I'm going to go over to this folder here, and I've got my roaming client right here. I'll go ahead and upload that. I'm going to go ahead, and it is an MSI. I think MSI is MSI/S. I forget. So pardon me there. I'm also going to go ahead and upload my custom icon. Again, pretty easy. As long as I have that icon, I'll just load it here. And then with the roaming client, there are configuration files that can go along with that installation. So I'm actually going to load that up here so that I can reference it in the install. So I could run scripts before and after. It doesn't make sense in this case necessarily. This will actually be dropped into the same install folder as the MSI, so it can be easily referenced. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Oh, I didn't select the category, of course. App install here. I always have to re-authenticate because this is a potentially destructive action. We don't want to replace an MSI with something that's potentially malicious and not have to re-authenticate. And then in the short term, it won't be immediately available because it has to be scanned for malicious intent. It'll show up here as an app install. Now, where the big, so yes, this is really helpful in creating more complex software install packages without a doubt. But I think where the efficiency really comes in is now when I actually want to go and run, let's say, a scheduled task. Here we go. I'm going to take this one, for example, install GoToMeeting. In the past, actually, this is a really good example. This was just a script. I can actually, in this case now, go and add a script, an app install, and go ahead and, oh, here we go. It's actually already in there. Go ahead and add that in. And now every day it's going to try to install Cisco roaming client against a group of target devices, right? I can do the same thing in policies. I can do the same thing from an ad hoc perspective. If I jump over here to my devices, let me find one here. I can run an automation, install application, and go ahead and install that right away from an ad hoc perspective. And again, as I said, in policies, I can just go and assign that to policies. So whenever a device is added, it'll roll out that application. This is a big change from the way we did things in the past. I would say the vast majority of people were using custom scripts instead of using our native install app capability because it was so limited and because you had to repetitively upload those MSIs and rebuild the install app for each use case. And we're seeing, pretty strong adoption there. So we're super happy with it. Hopefully you guys are as well. It's less about us and more about you. All right. That was the first one I wanted to run through.
Before you go on, Pete, I'm going to go with the works a little bit and toss a couple of questions your way. So we got from Matt Yorty. Hey, Matt. We got with the software repository, is there a way to keep the MSI fresh? For example, do I have to remember to go back and put in a new MSI whenever a new version of Google Chrome is released to avoid installing an older version of Chrome?
I can answer that two ways. I'm going to take a cheap way out because you mentioned Google Chrome in a second, but let's pretend you didn't. What I would do is if you go to install application, I can go in here and I can kill this installer and re-upload a new one. And so what I would do, assuming that, this install application's in some policies, it's in some scheduled tasks, wherever it may be. I don't want to go and clean those out and restart. I can go in here, upload the new installer, and then re-push it out. That reduces the amount of administrative work that you'd have to do. I would have to go and upload the install. Let's say it was run once immediately in a policy, and I upload a new installer. This isn't going to recognize that a new installer was pushed and then push it out to everyone. So I would have to go back in existing devices, push it out to a large group of machines. But the administrative setup of tasks and policies, you wouldn't have to redo that, because new devices that are added to a policy, for example, would recognize the run once immediately and push it out. But that still would be my recommendation. Take the existing install application, overwrite the installer, and then go and do a manual push to the existing devices so that you can get some efficiency there. But your question about Google Chrome, simply because there is a cheap way out here. We do support, I think it's 140 or 110 applications natively in our third-party application patching functionality. So if I go to a policy and go to software, I can go to products and you'll see Google Chrome. We have search. You'll see it here. We do update those installers as they come out, and we do recognize when those installers are updated and then patch them. So if you're using our native patching capability, it's not all applications. This will cover that use case. And Chris, I don't know if you have anything to add there.
Yeah, well, I'll talk more about software patching in my segment too, because I can go into more details on that.
Awesome.
We are
Jonathan.
causing some angst with machining Chrome here. We got a lot of people kind of shuddering.
Yep.
Okay, one more quick one. A couple more quick ones. Okay, so from Chris. Hey, Chris, the other Chris Thomas. Does this detect if it's already installed, or does it just blast it every day in terms of the updates?
So that'll depend on how you're using the automation. It's not going to say if Chrome isn't, or let's use something that's not native, but if GIMP isn't installed, install GIMP. What it will do is you can use a different type of automation to do that. So if I go, actually, there's a better way to do this. If I go to devices here, I'm going to create a search group, and that search group is going to be installed. Sorry, software. Oh, that's status. Sorry. Software. So what I can do is I can say if software contains, and I'm going to use GIMP as an example, or let's use Brave, the Brave browser. I don't know if I have one installed. If Brave exists, does not contain. Oh, sorry. You have to do does not contain first. Does not contain, and then go to Brave again, because that's the browser I have an installer for. Okay, so all of these devices don't have Brave, and I am gonna tie this. Yeah. So let's save this group. I'm gonna go here. No Brave. I should have called it coward. Anyway, so we now have a group called no Brave. All of those devices don't have Brave installed. I'm going to go to tasks, and what I can do is I can create a new task. I'm going to target that group. So we're going to go here and go to groups, and we're going to search for Brave. And so we're going to target all those devices that don't have Brave. And what we're going to do is we are going to install Brave. And we're going to do that every day. We're going to install Brave. What this is going to do is it's only going to target people in that group. The group is dynamic. So once Brave is installed, they'll drop out of the group. So that's a way you can recognize if an application is installed and then push the application. That would be my recommendation on how to do that.
Okay. And yeah, everyone, thank you so much for the questions. We're going to keep on moving because there's a lot of cool stuff we want to share with you, obviously. So we are going to keep track of these questions and do our best to get back to you. We'll follow up.
I'll try to go faster on the second one. It looked like it was lower on the list of things people are using heavily. So the second one here is script variables. Actually, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this one, because it's so powerful, so exciting, but adoption, we probably have about 20% of our customers who are using it today, and they tend to be power users. It can be really impactful, really powerful, but it's also a little bit more complex. So we call this feature dynamic script variables, and it's a really cool feature that allows you to add variables to scripts and then fill them out via a GUI-based form when you go to deploy. So I have an example here. I'm going to look up ITX here. This one, create local user. If I jump in here, I have a script here that's written, and you can see that over here, I have script variables. I have 2 strings, a date, and a checkbox. We've got a bunch of options here. I've added these in, and then when I go to write the script, these actually come in as environmental variables. So you can see I have the username, the password, the is admin checkbox, and then the last one is expiration date, which I have down here, right? And what I'm doing is I'm inserting the information that's inserted by the GUI form here. So, when I run this script, I'll type in the username, I'll type in the password, I'll decide if we want the person to be admin, and I'll decide when we want the user to expire. So, what I'm doing here is I'm saying, create user with this username and this password. I'm checking if it isn't, if the person said it is an admin, and if it is, I'm adding them to the administrators group, and then I'm setting the expiration date. Now, when I go to run this is where I think it's pretty cool. If I go to run this, we've changed the UI so much, sometimes I get lost. I'm going to go to a single device. This same workflow works in policies. It works in tasks. But if I go to run this script, ITX, you can now see that I have this form that I fill out. So the username is, Peter, password is password, and we have an expiration date. And with such a great password, I do definitely want them to be an admin because I have that password. And now I can run it, right? The great thing about this is if you have people on your team who are expert scripters, they can create much more dynamic use cases for scripts that they don't have to recreate a script every time. They can create a script with a form, and a level 1, level 2 tech has a lot better chance of running this script effectively and with a lot less input and scripting knowledge from them. So it makes scripting a lot more accessible. It makes your team's ability to automate a lot more effective. And that's what I think is really exciting about it. It does take some time. What we're seeing is people, as they're going and updating scripts and changing the use cases, they're starting to adopt these variables and the dynamic script forms. But we are seeing some really cool use cases here. So another one I want to show that actually, if you're interested in kind of exploring, oops, that's my ticketing capability. If you're interested in exploring this, in our out-of-box script library, if you go over here to template library, we have one called Chocolatey install, upgrade, and uninstall. So if I look here, you can actually see that we have some script variables. What do we want to do? This will say, do we want to install, uninstall? So I can actually show you this. Install, upgrade, uninstall. This is what package you want. I think this is, you just type in the name. And then some other variables. So if I go ahead and import this, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Leave it in on categorized. There we go. And then I'm going to go and run this really quick. Devices. I'm sorry, my computer's so slow. I think I could be faster if my computer could keep up. Again, I'll run this on an AD server. It makes total sense from a use case perspective. I'll come over here, run automation script, and that was called Chocolatey. Here we go. You can see I'm importing this right from the library, and this is what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and install, or in this case, maybe update Chrome. I assume that's the package name. I'd have to go and look at the package name. And then I have some options here, right? Like I definitely don't want Chocolatey installed. I definitely don't want it upgraded. I just want to upgrade Chrome. So this is a good example. If you want to see how it works, this is a really good example you can go and look at. And we're in the process of upgrading a lot of those out-of-box scripts to use this format. So that was number 2. Any questions there? I've got a couple use cases I can share. These are a couple that the PM shared with us. So, creating and disabling accounts, downloading a file to an agent is a good use case here. Joining a computer to a domain, building out branded notifications. That's actually one we're building that'll be in our library in the not too distant future. And then making security improvements on the fly. So, for example, using an interactive form to allow you to easily make choices around like security needs. So, for example, renaming a local admin account, increasing storage size for event logs, or configuring with the Windows firewall, like all in one kind of hardening script. So those are some examples. If we do have questions on this, I'm happy to jump in. If not, I can jump to the last one, which is reporting.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on, Pete, if you don't mind. Sorry, everybody. Loads of good stuff to share.
Okay.
Sneak peeks for next year. Make sure we get through it.
Everyone will have access to our report upgrade after 5.6. You guys have already seen the device search grid, which I've shown a couple of times here, but our reporting upgrade is coming in 5.6. For existing customers, you are going to have to request your AM switch you over to the new version. There's like a migration process. Otherwise, any new customers, this is the first one they'll see. And what we've done here is we've changed how you go about creating reports. I'm going to create a data table first, because that's the one I'm most excited about. New data table. I'm going to have to go back and clean this up, but we're going to create a new data table. This is essentially a report object that mirrors our device search grid. So just like with the device search grid, I have the ability to go over here and add any columns that I might want. Not every little piece of information is available from the system in this yet, but we are adding more. So I've added a couple. I can move some things around, whatever, and then they'll update right here. I can also tie these back to individual groups. So let's say all devices that have Bitdefender. I now have a new report. Let's call it, devices with Bitdefender. And that is a new data table that I can pull into a report. On the other side, I also have, and I can go and look at that report if I want to. So if I go back to reports here, at any point, I can go and find my Bitdefender devices, and then I just have this data table. This does update in real time, so it'll pull in any devices that we have with the columns that you want. Secondly, though, we have also changed how you go about building those more summary reports, the pretty ones, right? So, you know what? I'm going to open one that exists. Let's say asset summary here. You can see here the essentially a preview of what like the data table would look like. I can go ahead and edit this, and it's going to show me like a fake view of what it would look like. And then I can go in and customize, right? I can add new sections, let's say whatever I want. I can move them around, and then you'll actually see that section, you know, in real time. Now, I can associate it with groups or timeframes if I want. But the great thing is, if I go back into our kind of where you currently see reporting today, when I actually want to schedule these to go out, I can actually do a lot of that in the back end as well. So I can just decide when I'm going to do it, who I'm going to send it to, but I can also select my reports here. So I'm going to go ahead and add that summary one, but I can, again, just target it at a single org or a single location or a single group, right? So I can override all of that. I can bring in that data table that I wanted here as well. And that's going to pull all of these things together and send them out to a group. So what we've done here is made, you know, creating reports a little bit easier, made actually sharing those reports a lot easier. You're not sending 10 emails. You can kind of combine it all into one, made it more dynamic so I can choose the right group and org and all of those things, and created this new data table style, which allows you to get to the data you may want. That's not a summary, but you actually want the real like line item data a lot better. So those are the key pieces of the reporting upgrade. And again, you can reach out to your AM today if you're a customer, and they can turn that on for you. And I think
Pete,
that's all I have.
No, that's great. And yeah, I was going to say people are jelly. They want those reports too. In addition to reaching out to AMs, is that going live with 5.6, or it's just a
It is going live with 5.6, but existing customers will have to request the migration.
Okay.
The reason we're not pushing everyone over right away is it'll look even better after 5.7. So if you want this reporting, reach out. They can turn it on for you really, really quick. If you want to wait until it's perfectly polished, you can wait till 5.7 and we'll migrate everyone over.
No one wants to wait. So yeah, sorry, but
I don't
yeah,
want to
reach
wait.
out to your AMs. They'll help you out. Also, one other quick thing I just want to drop in before we hand it over to Chris. So there's a question about training for some of these new things, and I just want to give a call out for Ninja. You know, we're always happy to provide help through your AMs. You can book time with our SEs, through our sales engineers. All of that's free of cost and unlimited. So I mean, there's probably some sales engineers who are like smacking their heads right now, but no, they love helping people out. You should definitely take advantage of it. Ask for walkthroughs of any new features.
And if it's so dynamic script forms in particular, I think there's a lot of power there, and I think we haven't done as good a job of enabling our customers as we could have. A task for my team is definitely to build out more sort of hands-on guides on use cases and how to use those. So I'm hoping my team can put that together early this year.
Awesome. So let's turn over to Chris. Mr. Williams, you have, according to our poll, the number one, what people love seeing the most were the patching updates. So you can take a victory lap and then share a little bit about what's to come.
I don't know. I want to take a victory lap just yet. Like they see the updates. We'll see. I don't know. Hopefully it's good. So yeah, let's talk patching. And before I dig into what we've done so far this year, I do want to take a brief step back and describe our overall patching objectives here at Ninja. Like these objectives, they underpin everything that we're doing, everything that we're working on as the patching team. So the first objective is expanding Ninja's patch coverage. Whether that's operating system support, third-party software support, we want to be able to patch anything and everything on your users' machines. We need to, like you need to, you want to be able to cover as much as you can. So we want to support you where you're at. The second objective is flexibility. So you and other, all the other companies that are using Ninja, like you want flexibility with patching. That no two companies patch the same way. I'm very much aware of that. You want options. Every environment is unique, and each company has their different preferences on managing their environment. The third objective that I have is transparency. Ninja needs to be transparent in what's happening on a device, so you can be informed quickly, accurately, you can make the best decisions for your devices. And then the last bucket, honestly, the biggest one for me is reliability. Everything just has to work. The prior three objectives that we have, like they don't matter at all if Ninja doesn't work predictably and reliably. So each of these four buckets for patching, coverage, flexibility, transparency, and reliability, those are at the heart of what we're working on now. And so you'll see that in some of what I talk about here just next. So patch coverage. Last year in 2022, our primary focus with patching was Windows only for the most part, but we were working to expand that coverage. And so this year, like we know that for many of you, that's not reality for your environments. You're not a Windows only shop. I've talked with a lot of users that you have employees, you have your own users that they insist that like they have to be using a Mac because they want to be able to text message people from their laptop during work hours sneakily. Some of our larger customers are running thousands of Linux servers, so we want to meet you where you're at. So this year, well, actually, I'll talk about Linux first. Late last year, right at the very tail end of last year, we opened up Linux patching as a beta, and this year we've been working to greatly expand our Linux distro support. We have more to do there, but we have just this year for those that are in the beta, we've applied over 200,000 patches to Linux machines so far this year. And then on the Mac side, I'll talk about that as well. We, at the beginning of this year, early on this year, we opened up Mac betas for OS patching and for third-party software patching. And Apple doesn't make either of them easy, to be honest. Apple makes life difficult for developers. I love a lot of their products. They make life difficult for developers. So our Mac support is trailing a little bit behind our Linux support because we are working through some issues, but we've still, even with some known issues that we're working to correct, we've applied 70,000 patches or over 70,000 here so far this year on Macs. And I want to be clear, like we are continuing to invest heavily in both of these platforms on the patching side, especially. Like I want to make sure that you understand we are trying to bring parity for what we're doing on the Windows side. We want to bring all those same features to Linux and Mac. And so you'll see that in the coming year as we add new features on both the Linux and Mac side. And that we're going to continue heavily investing in reliability and bringing those out of beta into the new year. So let's talk flexibility. Like I know, again, I mentioned like every company has their own way of doing patching. What works for one might not be a great fit for other companies. And so we wanted to bring you options while still maintaining the great simplicity that Ninja is known for. And so earlier this year, I have it up on the screen, we added new scheduling options to give you more flexibility for when you scan your machines. You can now schedule multiple days within a week. You can create custom schedules around Microsoft's Patch Tuesday, which is coming up next week, by the way. So hopefully Microsoft doesn't drop any nasty end of year surprises on us. I guess we'll all find out together next week. And then one new feature I want to highlight that's coming out with the 5.6 release, which is starting deployment here. It started last week and it's continuing through this week and next. With the 5.6 release, we're bringing new search filters around operating system searching and the just patching as well. You can now create much more refined searches based on OS type, where you're searching for Windows, Mac, Linux. For OS build information, you can get very granular in the OS build information. We also added a search for OS release info so that you can pull in, I want to know which devices are on 21H1 Windows 10 or 1709 Windows 10 from 6 years ago. Like I want to see those devices. I want to get them corrected. Like we've added new search capabilities in 5.6 for that. We've also added some new patching search filters as well for failed patches. So you can see when a patch has failed, and you can get devices that have failed patches within your search grid. Those you'll see, like we're tying a lot of those into our OS patching dashboard, which I'm going to talk about here next. So I'll probably save that just for a second. So for transparency, I mentioned that you need to have visibility into what's happening on your devices. You need to know what's working, but more importantly, you need information on what's not working as expected. And so we released the OS patch dashboard earlier this year. The feedback has been phenomenal. I can't talk either. I can't even say phenomenal. We're providing insights on the overall patch health of your environment. And with the 5.6 release, we're making, I mentioned those new search filters that we've added. We're tying a lot of those into the patch dashboard. Not everything is quite clickable just yet on the dashboard with the 5.6 release, but we're working there. Like you're seeing, like we're putting together these building blocks where we're adding new search filters so that we can make a lot of these boxes, make them more clickable and you can start drilling down and get the information that you're really looking for. So you'll see that with 5.6. You'll see even more progress next year as well as we continue improving on that. And speaking of that, I know we've talked already on this call just about the feedback, getting feedback to us about what's working and what's not. I see all of it. I am reading all of it. And I might not have the time to respond to each one individually, but we do, all the product managers, we do take that feedback very seriously. So please let us know what you love. Also, let us know what you don't love, because if you don't like it, there's probably someone else that doesn't like it either, and we want to get that fixed. Moving on, we also just recently added the ability to see more CVSS score information within, like if you have a patch that has 20 or 30 CVEs associated with it, we're adding the ability to click on that and be able to see more information and see which of those CVEs have a high CVS score, which one of those is or which ones of those are going to be the most critical, and maybe you need to dig into a little bit more. So you'll see us expanding that information around CVSS scores. You'll see this. You'll see that more throughout the system next year as well. We're going to continue expanding support for that. And then moving on to reliability, I mentioned that we spent much of 2022 focus on the Windows side, and that was more. Honestly, that was more from a reliability standpoint because of initiatives like that. We want to make sure that Ninja works and works well and works predictably. So we spent a lot of time in 2022 making sure that Windows OS patching was as good as it possibly could be from a reliability standpoint. And we've seen that this year. We've seen Windows OS patches. The number of successful attempts versus fail, we've seen that increase dramatically. We have applied over 50 million Windows OS updates this year alone. And then for software updates, I do want to talk about that. And I've seen discussion in the chat around software updates. I do want to acknowledge, I first want to acknowledge that we haven't been as reliable here with software updates as I would expect and as Ninja expects. The patching team has dedicated much of this year to work on the reliability for third-party software updates. And I think it was Ken and Ryan in the chat, you guys were talking about some updates were delayed. Like you were seeing older versions, or they weren't approved quick enough, or they weren't available quick enough within Ninja. We are taking steps to correct that. We have been working for most of this year on overhauling our third-party patch engine. Starting with Windows, we're going to do the same on the Mac side here soon, but we're starting with Windows first, and you'll see that with the 5.6 release, we've enabled a lot of our software products. We've moved them to this new engine. Not all of them are switched over just yet. We're still testing and validating, making sure that everything works like we expect. And I'm not going to sit here and say that the new engine will be perfect either. Software vendors frequently break things in new and unexpected ways. But we do fully believe that our software patching engine will be much more reliable next year, and this new engine will allow us to more quickly address when there are problems. We can more quickly react to those. So having said that, I do want to say that we successfully deployed over 100 million software patches in 2023. It's just an astonishing number. Like those are successful installs. I know, like we're not counting anything that failed. Like this is only successful installs or updates. 100 million updates. So it's it's just tremendous. Like it works well 98% of the time, but it's that 2% that really gets annoying. So I feel you, and you'll start seeing a lot of changes there soon. So now, like I talked about reliability, I want to get into, just real quick, I want to show a couple of new features that are coming soon, or at least give you a preview, since you guys have joined us on this webinar, and we really appreciate that. I want to give you a preview of what's coming with patching. And the first feature is one that's been heavily requested, and that's ability to delay patch approvals by a certain number of days. And starting with the 5.7 release, which is coming in Q1 next year, I won't give an exact date just yet because that could change and I don't want to get myself in trouble. We will be adding the ability to set up built-in delays for automatic approvals. You'll be able to go from the view that's shown currently, so this one here, you'll be able to go from this to one that's like this, where you'll be able to set delays for Windows updates up to 30 days, for For most updates, you see at the bottom the feature updates that you can set a delay up to 365 days if you want. So what this does, this will give you the ability for those of you that are hesitant to approve patches on day one, like Patch Tuesdays next week. If Microsoft releases a bad update and you've been burned before, all of us in the IT space, I think, have been burned by a bad update before. Then if that's something that concerns you with the 5.7 release, you'll be able to set in this buffer, this built-in automatic delay before a patch gets approved. And you can still go in, like the patches they'll just show in a pending state. And so you'll still be able to go in and manually approve an update if you want to get it out sooner. So that is something that's coming. Unfortunately, this is coming to Windows OS updates first. We were trying to get it in for third-party patching and for Linux and Mac. There are some challenges there in how the patch release date is getting reported. So we weren't able to get that in for the 5.7 release, but we're working to expand that here pretty soon to third-party software patching and other OSs. And then the last feature that I want to preview is one that will go into beta early next year. And rather than just tell you what it is with screenshots, I do want to show you. So let me switch over. So I am in just a normal like software tab view. And so what is changing, if you go to the software tab, you'll see the look and feel is a little bit different. And then when I go to add software, you will see we are now with a release that's coming early next year, we are going to have native Winget integration with Ninja. So you will be able to add products from Winget into Ninja, manage them like you do any other software product, whether that's an install or whether that's an update. I can show this working, but this is a dev environment. This isn't even one of our QA environments, and we have developers in there. I don't want to break or disrupt what they're doing, but this is something that I'll go ahead and select these and add them. So you can see our new cleaner look and feel for the software tab here. You can go in and you can say if you want to edit, if you want to remove software. I can go in and update these directly. We have new filter options. So if I want to filter, this isn't every software product within Winget. We've limited it to just 15 for this demo. But you would be able, Winget supports over 5,000 applications for Windows 10 and Windows 11 workstations. You will be able to add all of those within here, and you can filter, you can change settings for specific applications. You can go in and say, I want them all to just automatically update. Those changes are coming early next year, at least in a beta format. So I don't want to get too carried away and say, yeah, everyone will have this January 1st. Like it's coming, but it'll be a beta to start, and then we're going to quickly expand out from there based on the feedback. Any questions I can help answer?
Wow, showstoppers! You're getting making lots of people happy this holiday season, Chris.
Woohoo!
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I blabbed way too much at the beginning. We got to move it here. Nick.
Ooh.
Let's go over to you, and everyone, if you can stay over, we are going to run over just a little bit. Don't want to rush Nick too much here. Got a lot of good things to talk about in terms of backup.
Yeah, no problem. I'll speed it up just a little bit so we can get to all the fun stuff for next year as well. But here we go. Okay, I'll just jump right into a demo and I'll kind of talk about some of the big updates as we go along. So first one is going to be our new backup overview dashboard, right? So the goal here was to more or less provide enhanced visibility into your backup environment. We want to see kind of everything that's going on for your past. You can go here, backup overview. This is leveled at the global, the organization, and the device level. Provides, kind of clear indications. You have your storage allocations here, local and cloud, the devices overall, and any jobs run today, along with the addition of more additional features as well. So like a cool example would be here. If you wanted to filter for the last success, say over the last 3 days, you can see this organization fits into that category as well. And, you know, the ability to kind of go back and dive deeper into each level, right? So say we want to go into the organization. Again, you have the same categories up here. You have cool, these are all clickable as well. So you can click on to see specific successful jobs, warnings, any failed backup jobs as well. You also have the ability to filter quickly by today, last week, last month, last quarter to see all your backup jobs from a top level. Again, the filters are here also. And then from this point, I want to show a few of the other backup key additions that I wanted to show off to you guys. So the first one's going to be Dojo error links along with the enhanced delete options. So say we want to go over here. We want to click down even further to the device level. Again, you have those overviews. And let's do an idea. Let's say we'll filter by status. You have an error warning more or less here. So click in. By the end of the year, all of these that return these errors will have direct link outs to the dojo. And the goal here is to show, kind of give you a direct link, provide quick solutions for backup related errors, right? So these will directly click out. They'll have a click out here to just show you. They'll all be in by the end of the year, but it'll bring you to a page that has something like this. So say the error code is 306. You'll see the problem that is causing it, what caused the actual error itself, and then provide you a quick solution so you can quickly handle any backup issues right away. So the next key addition I want to show you guys is the enhanced delete options, right? So this is the goal to give you flexibility and security to delete the data that you need to and to prevent any unwanted, any accidental or any unauthorized deletion of your data. So say you want to go into here, we'll do a manage, for example. Want to click on this image backup. Say you want to delete this local disk. So let's go back here. Delete. So you'll have the pop-up right here. This data will be held for 72 hours to make sure before it's a full delete. So again, adding that extra layer of security. And then if you want to delete, you have the MFA that pops up right here. This data won't delete until you put in an MFA code, whichever way you need it. Again, to prevent that unauthorized or accidental deletion of your data. So also want to jump into a really cool aspect of pre-post automations along with Mac file and folder backup. So say you want to go in here to agent policies. We'll just click on Mac to show you backup. We now have file and folder backups available for Mac devices. If you have seen it before, this should look familiar. If you don't, these are where you set all the settings up for your Mac file and folder. Again, same example for Windows as well, but you can set a schedule anytime you want it to occur, any power options. So if you want to prevent the device from sleeping, if you want to run the plan immediately if it's missed, any revisions, but this is where you have the option to add their pre and post script executions. So you want to go in here, you want to add an automation. Pete mentioned a lot of the automations earlier on, or you've seen this screen before, but say we want to run Mac, say we want to purge the disk cache. You can set this up to run before the backup job's even run itself. And then the cool additional feature here is that you can cancel the backup job if the automation doesn't run at all. So if this returns a failure message, you can cancel the backup job, jump back in and triage at a later date. And along with both of these, the last two things I wanted to mention, not really show, but API enhancements, like Pete mentioned early on, really enhancing the ability to get that additional detailed information from your current and historical backup jobs, such as the start and end times, status, size, and backup type. And then the final improvement is working on speed improvements. You know, we're always looking to make things faster and more efficient for our partners. These speed improvements are going to focus on file and folder scan and upload enhancements, as well as increasing image mounting speeds by 80%. And that is a super abridged version of all the fun backup updates that we have.
Thank you so much, Nick.
No
You're
problem.
the man. Awesome. Yeah, we got some questions, and I saw Pete's jumping in there too. Okay, so we're at noon. Hopefully, understand if people have to jump. We will be recording this, or we are recording this, and we'll be sending out that after the fact, along with answering some of the questions we didn't get to. But we still have some more things to share. Pete, however much time you have available, do you want to show anything else? Oh, you're on mute.
I'm going to do the speed run here. I had it all broken out. I'll try to cover the most important ones. All right, roadmap for H124. This is a roadmap. I want to put a huge disclaimer. Things change, things shift. Things don't work as expected. We're committed to being stable, reliable, etc. And so if we push things, it is for your own benefit. But we feel pretty confident that these will be the biggest items in our H1 roadmap for 2024. So integrations, we have 3 security related integrations: CrowdStrike, SentinelOne, and Bitdefender Gravity Zone, as well as 2 ITSM integrations with ServiceNow and Zendesk. We're super excited to expand the number and types of devices we can manage by adding Android and iOS via MDM, and Raspberry Pi and Linux ARM with an agent-based solution. And then 2 really cool core platform enhancements: compound conditions and SCIM user provisioning. I'm going to jump in super quick with these. So sorry, I'm a little bit rushed here, but I want you to see them. So let's start here with security integrations. You may have already seen these, but for all of these integrations, it'll be automatically mass deploying your security solution, starting scan jobs in some, but not all of the integrations, seeing threats in NinjaOne, using our notification alerting capability, and then having one-click access to both the dashboard level, the device level, and even potentially the threat level for faster remediation. It's all about single pane and making sure you see the threats as they come up, because you don't necessarily spend as much time in your EDR as in Ninja. ITSM integrations. This is really about ticketing. Really, it's you'll map your organizations, any conditions or activities that you want to create tickets for automatically. You'll get those high contacts tickets automatically created in your ITSM solution, and then you'll sync statuses. Right, if you close a ticket in Ninja, it'll sync back to your ticketing solution. All right, MDM, super exciting. This is available to customers with 5.6. We do have Android and iOS MDM available today. Apple is a little bit lagging just a little bit on Android, so we don't have feature parity yet. And there are some missing things like, well, I'll talk about those in a second for Apple. So if you're an existing customer and you're excited about MDM, reach out to your account manager. They can turn that on for you. We recommend you do a thorough trial POC before purchasing it, because until sort of mid-year at the end of H1, this won't be a fully GA product. So make sure you test it out, make sure it's going to meet your needs before you dive right in. We do have a really robust solution that we are really excited about, and we've got even more to come, which is my next slide here. Oops. My next slide here. So within H1, we will be adding Apple VPP support so that you can do application deployment via VPP. More configuration options, device health reporting, geolocation, and device tracking, which is a big ask we've been hearing. We will have an integration with our remote access tool, device compliance conditions, so you can take action based on compliance outcomes, and then low to no touch Android enrollment. I think those are all the big ones for MDM. Once all of these are in, this is really when we'll start seeing this as a fully GA product. But again, if you're a customer, we are pushing to get people on it today so that we can get more feedback. We're looking for people who want to use it kind of a little bit more at scale. So if you're interested, reach out to your AM. All right, Linux ARM support. This is essentially just going to look like a Linux agent does today. So you'll have alerting, remote tools, script deployment, and patch management all built into Linux ARM. Compound conditions. This is one I'd love to spend more time on, but it's essentially the ability to chain conditions to evaluate whether or not they're true. So if X, Y, and Z are all true, then take some action via automation. So if device manufacturer, I don't know, is Dell, and some script result condition is true, then force a reboot, I guess, in this case. Or here's a good example. Yeah. Online for 14 days and reboot pending, then force reboot. So at launch, we'll have a shorter list of conditions, but we're going to blow that out over time. It can be really, really robust and allow your policies to be much, much more flexible. sorry, Skim, last one. We will have a tie-in with your IDP that allows you to configure Ninja as a Skim client within your IDP, so you can automatically provision and deprovision both technicians and end user accounts in NinjaOne, map your groups, and so we will be able to keep permissions current as users change IDP roles or are deprovisioned so they lose access. So that's a speed run. There's a lot more value that I didn't get to cover it all there. But those are the H1 things that we're willing to commit to, or at least commit to really trying to get into H1. So I think we can jump over to the lucky winner.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being so patient. My name is Andrew, and I'm the Marketing Programs Coordinator with NinjaOne. I'll be announcing today's webinar prize winner of the brand new Steam Deck. The winner of the brand new, highly coveted Steam Deck is, drumroll please, Bradley Breedlove. Congratulations, Bradley. Keep an eye out on an email from me in the following days. But yeah, thanks, team. Back to y'all.
Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations. Wow, Pete, thanks for going through that so quickly. Thank you everybody for taking the time to join us for this end of the year look back and also sneak peek into next year. Great to see everybody being very happy and engaged with some of the things that are coming. Obviously, some questions we didn't get to that we will follow up on. You'll also get an email with this recording and some links to the upcoming things. Don't forget, register for IT Festivus. It's December 21st, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a lot of fun. Rejection Cons next week. Nick's webinars next week, too. So lots of other opportunities for us to get together, connect, and share some things before we call it a wrap on 2023. But thank you, everybody, again. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Chris. You guys are the best.
Thanks, all.
See everybody.
Yeah, call your AMs.
Appreciate
Get those features
Yeah,
enabled.
that's right.
Thanks, everybody.